Okay, that's amazing. Great. So cool. Today, I'll be talking about UI Bakery, and I'll show you how to connect to the HTTP API. And in this example, we'll be connecting to the GitHub HTTP API and do manipulations with issues. We'll work with it and create operations like sorting, filtering, creating new issues, and reading all the issues from the GitHub API. So how will it look like? So first of all, here is a repository I've created for this demo. It contains a number of different issues. Some of them are opened, like 4 open issues, and some of them are already closed. And here I've created an application that reads all these issues using the HTTP API, and it shows now just open issues. Then it can show us only closed issues, so it does filtering. Then it can show us all the issues. Okay, and also here we can create a new issue. Like here we have 6 issues now. Let's create an issue number 7. Okay, create an issue. Okay, and now we have an issue number 7 here. And if we can go to the repository, I'll reload the page, and issue number 7 appeared here and just open now. So let's dive into UI Bakery and take a look at how to build such a cool dashboard. Okay, so first of all, here's my first screen, a list of my applications in the UI Bakery. So I can just create a project. I'll call it GitHub Issues Dashboard. Here are a list of different templates you can use for your applications, but for now, let's start with a blank template. So the page is created, and here's a pane where you can drag your components and build something, build UI. But first of all, the most important stuff for us right now is the data sources. So it's a place where you can connect different data sources to your application. So let's press the connect button. Here I can connect multiple different data sources as databases, Google Sheets, and other integrations. But for now, we'll be using just HTTP API. So I have to connect a GitHub API. So it will be GitHub. I'll call it GitHub. Here I need a base URL. Base URL, let me just copy paste it. Okay, it's GitHub API URL with my nickname at the GitHub and the repository name. Okay. But to query data from the GitHub, we have to add a bit more additional information. So first of all, headers. I have to add an accept header here. GitHub requires the following value to allow their API work properly. The second part here is the basic authorization, because this repository, my GitHub repository, is private, as you can see, so it can't be reached from the outside GitHub without any tokens. So here we need to add an authorization. So here will be username, just my username, and my private key that I already created under GitHub. Okay, and as you can see here, it's just marked with asterisks, and all this information that's configured here in the data source connection screen will be stored securely on our servers and will not be sent to the front end, to the clients. And all this information, all these headers, query parameters, and basic authorization tokens will be put inside each request made using this data source. Okay, so I'm configuring this username and password once. It's stored securely on our servers and merged with all the other information before sending this request to the GitHub API. Okay, so let me just connect this data source. It's connected, and let's go back to the components page. Okay, here, before drawing the table, we have to create an action that will allow us to load all the required data from the HTTP API. So I'm just going to the actions pane, creating a new action. And here I added choose a type of the action, and it will be HTTP request. Okay, HTTP request. Cool. So here I can choose my GitHub data source. It will insert a base URL that we've already defined. Then we have to query issues here. Okay, so I'm typing the issues. Also, here we have a method. Yep, we have to use a get method. And the last stuff we have to configure here is the query parameters. So GitHub asks us, first of all, let's query issues by state. So let's query just opened issues. And let's filter them. We'll query only, oh, pardon me, that's not required, I bet. Okay, so let's just run the action and take a look on what we got. So here we have a result of five opened issues. And if we can go here, we'll see 5 opened issues inside the GitHub. Okay, I can go back to the setup and change state to closed, trigger the action again, take a look at the result. We have 2 actions here, 2 issues here. And as I remember, yep, we have 2 closed issues here. Okay, cool. So HTTP connection works properly. So we can query the data from the GitHub API. Okay, now let's go and create a table to manage all these issues. So I'm just creating a table here. And as you can see, it just understood the selected action here and generated the structure of this table automatically. But as you can see, the results, the information retrieved from the GitHub is pretty complex and shows us lots of different fields. So I'm just cleaning the structure of the table a bit to make it more beautiful. And that stuff. So not interested for us. Okay, so let's keep it. Okay, cool. Now I have a pretty beautiful table that shows us multiple different fields from the GitHub API. Okay, cool. Now I just want to add an ability to filter the issues that are requested from the GitHub API, because now we are just loading all the open issues, but I just want to add a select box that will show us which issues we want to see. So first of all, let's add a select box here and configure its placeholder. So it will be just select state. Okay. Then I'll change the name of the select box. So it will be select state. And let's go back to the main settings of the select box and configure its options. So GitHub allows us to add 3 different options here, like issue can be open, it will be an open issue, issue can be closed, title closed issue, and finally we want to have an ability to select all issues. So we'll choose all here, and the default value will be open. Okay, then to make it work, we have to do the following. We have to re-trigger these actions that reload the screen, reload the issues each time we're changing the value inside the select box. So each time I'm changing the value, I'm selecting something else, like selecting closed or other, I have to re-trigger this load issues action. So I'm going here at the trigger section, and here in trigger section, choose the onChange trigger, where I'm choosing my action. So now let's take a look at how does it work. I'm going here, choosing open, and data is reloaded and nothing changed. Why? Just because we didn't change the filter here. Okay, we're still retrieving all the open issues. Now let's fix it a bit. So we don't need an open state here. But here we have to reference the actual value of the select box. Okay, so I'm referencing here something from the UI. Yeah, select box is a UI variable. So UI.selectState.value. Okay. Now, each time I'm triggering these issues loading action, it will take the actual value of the select box and put it inside the state filter. Okay, let's take a look on how does it work. So now it's open, let's make it closed, and only closed issues are loaded. Now let's take a look how we can load all the issues, and all the issues are here. Okay, that's how it works. Inside this actions panel, if you don't know what's actually inside this selected variable, you can take a look at the context of what we have right now during the execution of this action. So for instance, here I have the context of all the stuff that's available for me to be referenced inside the action. So for instance, here in the context, I have a UI. Here I have a select state with different value, with a value all. If I change this stuff here, this context is reloaded, and as you can see here, now it's open. So this stuff can just help you to debug if something went wrong. Okay, so if your action doesn't work as you expected, or it returns errors or something like that, you can just dive into the context and understand all the stuff you've configured here, and take a look at the problem and deal with it. Okay, so as you can see here, now we have a small dashboard with loading that can load all the issues from the GitHub repository and can perform some filtering. Now let's add an ability to create new issues directly from this table. Okay, so first of all, I'm selecting the table component, then go into the Appearance and Style tab at the right sidebar, where I can just enable an add action. After that, a new button is available here, just appears. And when I'm pressing on this button, lots of different fields appeared here. Okay, so when I'm pressing it, this table just asks the user to fill the row, and then you can press a green button just to submit all the stuff. Okay, so when the user presses green button, all the stuff is submitted somewhere. So we have to create an action that will call the GitHub API and create a new issue. So let's do so. First of all, I'm creating a new action. I'll call it create issue. It will be an HTTP request again. I'm choosing a GitHub data source here, so my base URL is pre-filled, and all the tokens and headers are already configured inside the data source tab, as we did at the very beginning. And now again, URL have to be issues, but now we'll use a post method. We'll use a post method, and what we have to do here, we have to select a body, JS object, and put the required information the user entered inside these inputs. Okay, to do so, I'm referencing again the UI variable, and here I'm seeking for the issues table, and here I can find a new row, new data. So this variable will reference the new row created by this functionality. Okay, and what's the most important here, we have to mark this action, make this action trigger each time the user presses green submit button. So I'm going again to the table, going to the triggers and condition tab, and each time when on create trigger fires, we'll call this create issue action. Okay, and let me add one small addition here. Each time when new action created, we just want to reload all the issues here just to make sure all of them are in the proper state. So I'm adding one more step to this action. Choosing the step type, it will be execute another action, and I'll just call our new action that will load all the issues from the GitHub API. Let's take a look at how does it work finally. So let's do it from scratch. I'm going to the table, pressing the new button. Let's say, oh, this is not a title. It's not a title. What is it called? Title. Just, oh, pardon me. I think I messed up something. So I made my title column a date column. Sorry. So let's get back to this stuff. So I'm going here to the table, pressing on the add new issue button, going to the title. Then in this title, let's call it issue number 8, since we have only 7 issues here. I'm pressing on the submit button and issue is added here. And if I go to the repository, reload the page, and yep, one new issue is created at the GitHub. Okay, cool. So now we can list all the issues from the GitHub repository, and we can create new issues. Okay, let's go at that. Great. Now let's get back to the loading issues functionality. And as you can see here in the result tab, I can preview all the stuff that's loaded from the GitHub API. And here we have a user. So each issue has a user, but user is not just a plain data string, number, or date, or something like that, just a nested object. So we can't just display the nested object inside the table. But what if I want to display user login, for instance, or a user avatar URL? To do so, I have to configure a transformation of this data that's on the screen. So I'm just gonna add a few lines of the JavaScript here. So let's say, let me open it in a bigger model dialog. So we will reference the data that's loaded from this GitHub API. So it's previewed here. Then it's an array. So we'll map it. For instance, it will be an issue. And we'll transform it the following way. So we will put all the fields from the issue object here, and then I'll add a user login that will reference the issue user.login, and I'll add a user avatar that will reference issue user.avatar URL. Okay. Let's take a look at how does it work. Let me just rerun the action. Checking the result again, and yeah. Now I have an issue object, a full issue object, but now the fields like user login and user avatar are here. They are not nested somewhere inside multiple objects inside this data. So let's get back to the table and add these columns. So first of all, let's create a user login column. Yep, it will be user login. I just want to put it as a first column. So as you can see it, just to put here, yep, it's my nickname and all this issues created by me. And the next step, I only want to reference user avatar. And I'll just select a type. Okay, I'll choose an image type. So since link is stored inside this field, we can render it as an image. Yep, my face appeared here. I'll make it a bit thinner. Okay, cool. Okay, so as you can see, that way data transformation can help us to modify data retrieved from some APIs or from somewhere else and make it more usable and more convenient for us to display it on the screen. Okay, so let's take a look on what we just built. So again, here we have a table, table that loads all the issues from the GitHub API. Here is a Slack box that allows us to filter those issues. Like we can see all the open issues right now. We can just take a look at all the closed issues, or we can take a look at all the issues from the GitHub repository. And also here, we can create a new issue, like pressing the create new issue button, put in the title, like one more issue, pressing create button, and it's updated and it's created and loaded back here. And if I go to the GitHub repository, reload the page, I'll find this issue here, so it works. Okay, great. Frankly speaking, that's it. Might be, guys, you have any questions I can answer. Just don't hesitate, put them in chat, and we will deal with them. Okay, James Cruz tells us that. Yeah, big thanks to you. Just go to the uibakery.io and register and try to build something by yourself. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate. Just write to the support by email or by chat or wherever, and we'll help you to build what you want to build. Okay, great, cool. So maybe you have, guys, any more questions? Okay, cool. So if no questions here, then we'll finish the webinar. But if some questions will appear after the webinar, just don't hesitate. Let us know. Write us via email or via chat at the landing page or whatever. Just find us and ask your questions, and we'll be always ready to help you. Okay, guys. So thank you for your time. Sorry. Yep, we have a question. So, sales question, does StartPlan have all integrations? Let's get back. Let's take a look at the uibakery.io. Here we have Rising page. And yep, we have multiple different plans. And here, StartPlan have all the required integrations. But like custom components and integrations will have to be discussed. Okay, so all the integrations that are available here already, like all of these, will be available as a StartPlan with no limitation. Okay, great. Okay, guys. So again, thank you for your time. If you have questions, just let us know. We'll help you. Have a good day. Bye.